On August the 9th, 2020, the people of Belarus will be heading to the polls to elect who they want to have as their next leader. Now, Belarus has often been referred to as Europe's last dictatorship. Now, this is a reference to the fact that they've only ever had one president who keeps winning every single election. He's won the last 5 elections. His name is Alexander Lukashenka. He has a nice moustache and a nice hat. Now, Alexander Lukashenka doesn't really deny that the elections are rigged. He says that the elections are actually rigged against him. And this is proven by the fact that every election he only wins about 75% of the vote, when really he should be winning, let's say like 100% of the vote. Now, to be fair, Lukashenka, who is not a dictator, sometimes doesn't really help himself when he's trying to not sound like a dictator. For instance, there was a time when he threatened anybody who would go to opposition protests, saying that they should have their necks wrung like a duck if they attend the protest, which, does sound a little bit authoritarian. And there was also another instance a few years ago when Lukashenka was talking to European Union officials and they accused him of being a dictator. And his response was, it's better to be a dictator than to be gay, which was seen as a homophobic attack on the person who was accusing him of this. And then he went on a bit of a ramble about how he can forgive lesbianism, but he can never ever forgive gay men. So as you can see, Lukashenka is a little bit of a divisive figure, but surprisingly to some, Lukashenka is not the only person running for the 2020 Belarusian election. Firstly, we've got Viktor Babarika, who is a former head of a Belarusian-owned bank, who has been running for the next election, who unfortunately at the time of making this video has been jailed by Lukashenka himself. However, who knows, maybe he'll be out of jail and ready to run for the election in 2 days' time. We've also got Svetlana Tikhanovskaya, who has got mass support all around Belarus after her husband, who was a popular YouTuber, was jailed by Lukashenka, and she's wanting some sort of revenge, I suppose. And actually that's what she's running on. She's running on this idea that anyone will be better than Lukashenka because he's been in for too long. However, other people may argue that Lukashenka hasn't really been in that long if you look at the history of mankind. 1994 to 2020 might sound like a long time, but not really when you look at the history of the universe. It's actually a very, very small amount of time, and perhaps Lukashenka just needs a little bit more time to really put his own stamp on Belarus and make it, give it his own flavour, I suppose. So with only a few days to go, who do you think is going to win the Belarusian election? I'm going to go out on a limb and say, I think Lukashenka has got a pretty good chance of winning. I guess I just feel like he's got the experience of being president of Belarus that the other candidates don't quite have. And as I mentioned, he's also got a nice moustache. So yeah, let me know in the comments who you think is going to win the Belarusian election. And if you're watching this video after the election has been held, let me know how much of the election was rigged against Alexander Lukashenka unfairly, who to this date has been the finest president that modern Belarus has ever had. Anyway, you've been watching the Loneliest Man channel. I've been Peter, and thanks for watching.